Right, then let's try again. Good to see you. My name's Dave Crane. We got cut off earlier, unfortunately, because sometimes the Wi-Fi on the roof is not as good as it should be. And why should it be? Who'd want to sit on the roof and do their homework? So anyway, I want to talk to you about exactly why it is you shouldn't have kids. And it came out of a conversation recently with a lovely, very smart young lady, and we're just chatting about having kids. Not together, obviously. She was saying that her and her husband made a decision that they're never going to have kids. She likes kids, but she likes the idea of seeing nephews and nieces and handing them back to other people. Doesn't want to do schoolwork, doesn't want to wipe nappies, doesn't want to go to school, doesn't want to do all that stuff, just enjoys her holidays and so on. And I can understand it completely, because having kids can be a major drag. However, here's why you should have kids. Now, there's a couple of different reasons why. First of all, an amazing conversation years ago. There's a bit of an epiphany, really, and the whole thing was about why is it that we're talking about life after death. Now, I'm not a big believer in spiritual systems. I've got to be honest, I think they're control freaks. But anyway, that's aside the point. Controlling people is a very interesting thing. That's another conversation. But anyway, the idea that I heard, which is a fascinating idea, is that you don't get life after death. What you do get is your ideas, and the people that you've touched and people that you've influenced will live on. That's what happens. So your life after death is that the emotions that you've created and the things that you've shared, they live on after you've gone, which to me actually makes quite good sense. Now, why should that fit into the idea of the kids? Because they might be the only thing that live on. There's a really cool movie called Idiocracy, starring, what's he called? Not Owen Wilson, his brother, Luke Wilson. And you can watch it, actually, if you download it and all the rest of it. And it's all about in the future. He goes into some time capsule, wakes up in the future, and it's maybe, say, 100 years in the future. And what's happened is all the lawyers and all the doctors and all the smart people have made a decision that they're not going to have kids. Ever. Because it's too annoying. All those different things that upsets a lifestyle, things get broken, everything they collect gets damaged. There's no point having kids. But what happens instead? All the stupid people have kids. So I'm talking about all the people who didn't bother doing school, all the people who are sort of taking from the system, all the people who aren't really bothered what goes on, eating all the junk food, drinking all the junk rubbish, and not bringing up their kids properly. So while all the lawyers and all the smart people aren't having kids, instead, and it sounds terrible to say it, all the not so smart people are having 8 or 9 kids each. So that makes no real difference right now. It makes perfect sense to enjoy the things that we've got, except a generation down, or even a further generation after that, we're in a future where everybody's really stupid. The top TV show is something called Ow My Balls. And it's a guy who keeps bumping into things with his tickle tackle. So you can imagine how crazy that is. Now, okay, it's a comedy, and Luke Wilson's very funny, and the whole thing works very well, but it's not a million miles away. Because if you think about it, when you take it back to the theory of evolution, in nature, the only thing that survives is the smartest system. The smartest creatures that are able to adapt and evolve. Now, if we've got to a point, which has been told to us by the amazing David Attenborough, where now the chances of your child dying before they grow up is something like less than 1%. Most kids that are born will survive. So that means that every kid that we have will survive. Now, in the good old days, you'd have lots of kids because the infant mortality rate was so bad that as a direct result of that, you'd end up only having maybe, say, if you had 7 kids, maybe 3 would survive to take you into the adult life. And also, in those days, you had a farm or you had some different kind of subsistence or maybe a shop. And so your kids would inherit the shop and would look after you in your old age. Nowadays, we've got systems that make it slightly different. So the pressure on having kids is completely different. I remember when I got married, my dad said to me, Dave, when are you planning on having kids? And I said, I don't know, I'm going to save some money and then we're going to work on that. He said, look, there's no right time to have kids. Just have them. As soon as you start, then the life changes anyway. So there's no right time, just have them as soon as you want to, but have them straight away. And he was absolutely right. My gorgeous daughter Maya, who's just the most amazing person in the world to me, there's no set time. It could have been a year ago, 2 years ago, it could have been 10 years ago. Well, not 10 years ago. I wasn't married then. But you know what I mean? There's no set time for when it's the right time to do it. But you've got to make that serious decision. Do I want to have kids? What difference will it make to me? Am I able to look after them? Well, trust me, you'll find a way. Doesn't matter how difficult it is, but what you've got is this inner drive which takes you even further. This inner drive that when you're deep dig to find out what can make you strong, having kids is one of the few things that guarantees you will actually find something stronger than yourself, able to create a better part of yourself to work for the future. So that's what makes me tick. That's what drives me. That's what makes me realize I can be bigger and better. Now, if you're making a decision that you don't want to have kids, maybe it's because you've just started using Tinder and you haven't met anybody yet. I don't know what the deal is. But if you're deciding that you don't want to have kids, I perfectly understand and I respect that choice. So if you got cut off then, I'm sorry, I apologize, I moved around quite a lot. So if you're thinking about the right time to have your kids, wondering when you should do it, when you shouldn't do it, very simple, the right time is right now. Alright, I'm going to do my workout. That's why I'm wearing gear like this. I'm not trying to be Spider-Man, I'm just trying to not be so fat. You have a great day, I'll catch you later. Bye.